Welcome to Ankara University Philosophy Community Students presentation. Today our presentation topic is the inviting call of English, opening the door of interpretation. Today we have three presenters, Rana, Buket and Ahmetcan. Each presenter has 30 minutes. After the presentation, there will be a break, and we will continue with question and ask section. That will be 10 minutes, and that's why please write your questions to not forget. I'm inviting you, Rana, to the stage. Thank you.
Our presentation. Thank you for Baran. I will talk about, like I mentioned in my paragraph, in my abstract in the social media, I will talk about the hermeneutics. And first of all, my presentation consists of three parts. The first is about hermeneutics. What is hermeneutics? What is its problems? And after that, I will focus on the historical part of the hermeneutics. After that, in the case of the pre-understanding, like my topic, as a condition of understanding. In that place, I will focus on the two hermeneutic theorists, the Gadamer and Ricoeur. First of all, what is hermeneutics? Hermeneutics is related to the understanding and interpreting the text, and such as the life, of course. In the beginning of hermeneutics, in the ancient periods of the history, it will talk about, and after the ancient period, it will talk about scriptures and the exegesis. This means the tafsir. It's all about, before the Schleiermacher in the 19th century, all hermeneutic, the all understanding the text and its problems is all about the scriptures. Mostly the Bible. The hermeneutics problems is like that. There is a text which is suggested by the author of the text, and we as the readers, and there is a distinction between author's history, the part of the history. For example, let's say that this, and reader. For example, we read the text in 2022. First of all, the text and meaning. What is that meaning? The hermeneutics main problem is that the text meaning, the specific text meaning, can be an objective, and that's be one meaning or one meanings. The multiplicity of meanings. Is it possible? Or on the other hand, the correct meaning of some text is possible. And of course, the interpreter, we are the readers, we interpret and understand the text for some with some patterns we follow. And in that topic, the valid interpretation is possible. For example, the scripture is like of course, especially the Bible talks about a lot of stuff, and we have to understand it because we our world in accordance with the Bible. And that's why we have to understand the text. And for understanding, we have to interpret it. With the 19th century, the Schleiermacher is a philosopher and, of course, a theologian. And he says about that the valid interpretation we have to look at the text, and this is not a scientific thing. This is like the art of the understanding, he says, Schleiermacher. Because before the Schleiermacher, the interpreters of the text, the scriptures, is all about they suggest rules for interpretation. And they say that the interpretation is about the understanding of the prejudice meaning. And this is the one of the main problems of hermeneutics. The meaning of the text is by prejudice, by the author, or we as readers we construct the meaning. And with the Schleiermacher, his suggestions about the art of understanding, the philosophical sides coming, philosophical hermeneutics coming with the Schleiermacher suggestion. It's like that, because Schleiermacher says that the art of interpretation is like the art of thinking, and that's why it's philosophical. And after the Schleiermacher, the Gadamer and Ricoeur comes to the area and says that they start to answer the questions like that, what we are really doing when we are reading a thing. It's called more terminologically, the act of reading. We are reading something, the action, the real action, the empirical action of this reading, what does it mean? And the philosophical hermeneutics with Gadamer and Ricoeur turns on the self. For example, Schleiermacher also suggests that the understanding something means that the self-understanding. If we understand something, we also understand ourselves, the selfness. Schleiermacher also influenced by the Martin Luther King. Actually, Luther says that Luther is just about the scriptures. He is just influenced on the scripture, not all the other texts. But he says that an important point. He says that the meaning of the text can be just derived from the text itself, not the author's intention. It's included, the author or reader, my understanding or my beliefs is included the process, but the meaning of the specific text is just based on the text itself, because text shows itself through with itself, like that. And Schleiermacher, according to Gadamer, Schleiermacher's most important contribution to hermeneutics is that the Luther's method, Schleiermacher takes the method of Luther, the text, presents itself, meaning, its meaning by itself. Yes, according to Gadamer, Schleiermacher takes this for the scriptures like the other hermeneutic theories, they talk about, like I said before, this scripture. But Schleiermacher takes it and make it the universal, make its universalizability. For example, the text Luther is saying about scripture, but Schleiermacher takes its methods and apply to all texts of the world. And that's the Gadamer points it out about Schleiermacher's contribution to hermeneutics, actually. And in Schleiermacher's the method, there is two sides of the Schleiermacher's method. First one, I'm not using this very well, but I think it's okay. The grammatical and psychological. It means that the grammatical part of the text is about the language of the text, but language says about the meaning of the text. And the second one is all about the psychological, because it's all about the author's intention and state of mind. Of course, it also included the time that the authors live in, or not just the time, but also the place where she lives in. Of course, these are not separated from each other. They both used to be used for the understanding the text. It's like they are not one side or other side. It's not like that. It's like the biological thing. It's like the one thing, the understanding the meaning of the text, but two-sided maybe. But they are not distinguished between them. After that, we come to Gadamer. Gadamer is also interested in the Schleiermacher's position in hermeneutics. He also says that the understanding or interpreting a text cannot be science. He also, the Gadamer, also makes a distinction between explanation and understanding. At this side, there is science. Science gives us an explanation of something, the natural laws, the natural processes. But the understanding part is not like the scientific method, because scientific method, the scientific explanation gives us a verifiability. Also the justification. The scientific laws or the scientific explanation cannot change. But in that part, understanding, this is like this distinction based on the distinction. The explanation is all about knowing something, and knowing cannot be changed or cannot be the multiple. But understanding suggests multiple meanings. And of course, understanding is also about, it's more not like knowing, but intuition, I guess, and more personal and subjective. Gadamer suggests this distinction. And also, he talks about the truth, maybe the main aim of the philosophy. He said that in his magnum opus, The Truth and Method, the truth, there are scientific truths, and like we said that science gives us as explanation and justification. Okay, truth, of course, truth cannot be, all truths cannot be reduced to scientific truths. As we know, science has a method, mostly the deductive, yes, inductive, yes, it is in, but mostly deductive. And, like I said, that the truth of everything, every truth, cannot be reduced to this scientific truth. Some truths, there are some truths, he calls it the poetic truth. He says that the poetic truth is in understanding. And this understanding is about our prejudices. Like I said earlier, the understanding needs pre-understanding for Gadamer. And also his hermeneutics is not just about the text, the words coming together, but all about the world, because truths are in reality, and the reality gives us the scientific truths are but true explanation, and the other truths, the poetic truths, true understanding. And also, before Gadamer, hermeneutics was like a method of understanding something. Like the Schleiermacher is kind of a method of arriving something. But sorry.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm just too excited. He also says that the understanding something is all about the consensus or agreement of something. For example, or agreement. It's not like the, like I said, not like scientific methods, but Gadamer also interested in the Plato's dialectic method. This means the Socratic dialogue. Actually, we have consensus and agreement, and these are in the understanding, in terms of understanding, these needs at least two people. The primary condition of understanding is agreement. And he says that this understanding cannot be a theoretical thing, but a dialogical thing. For the agreement, because of we need at least two people, he suggested dialogical and in-experience method. Not like the science's experience method or experiment method, but experience. He says that in that point, he suggests that two things. Two words that used in the mostly Plato's and Aristotle's philosophy. The one is techne. It means the skill. But on the other hand, we have pronesis. Techne is like a skill and it's theoretical. And can be taught to other people. Like that, when I have a skill, I can learn and I can taught from other person. But pronesis is not like that. Pronesis means in English, means the practical skill. It's like Plato says that it's not a skill, but it presents itself in reality in the with the experience. And like we said that at least two people, the practical wisdom, I write this. Practical wisdom can be in this world, in experience, actually. And also, like I said that Gadamer's hermeneutics is not a method, but it's like the philosophy itself. Because understanding is related to the being in, like in Heidegger says, being in the world. It's about the meaning of the self, and meaning of the self with respect to the meaning of the world, the reality. And practical wisdom also related to his dialectical kind of understanding of life and also his philosophy. After that, we will come to the Gadamer's prejudices. For him, prejudices is important and a condition for our understanding. For understanding something, we have a background and also prejudices about the situation. Also, Gadamer is so influenced by his teacher Heidegger. Heidegger, in this hermeneutic place, hermeneutic is also a task of understanding. We come to the what Heidegger says a hermeneutical circle. It's like that. Let's say about the text is here. Okay. The whole text. And there are the sentences like there are parts of the text. The hermeneutical circle is like that. We cannot, it's like a paradoxical. We cannot know the parts without knowing or understanding the whole, and we can know not the whole without understanding the parts. It's like paradoxical. But in here, from parts to whole, there is an understanding and also defining. On the other side, from whole to parts, there is pre-understanding. Also, the contextualization. And they are also, like we said, they are in a dialectical relationship, actually. Heidegger suggests that in the hermeneutic circle. Like its follower of the Heidegger is Gadamer. Gadamer says that it's like about the theoretical part of the language, but its practice. Like say, when I talk about something or in some language, language presents itself, it's only in its experience. And language is like a lively thing. Not lively, yaşayan bir şey. This means, in here, like I said, the mediator of the text and the reader and the understanding is about language. Gadamer says that in language, there are verbs and phrases. I didn't pronounce it good, but we have the accepted meanings. For example, in that time, in 1,000 years ago, the mean something. For example, the tekne. Tekne is used as for the arts, for example, but arts is not very similar with the arts and skills. But the verb's accepted meaning differs from time to time. And Gadamer says that when we read some text from the earlier periods, we have a distanciation. We have a distance. As a reader, we have a distance with the text because it's language, because the text and the reader makes a relation with the true language. And this distanciation is all about our distance, actually.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Count left.
Yes.
Okay. I cannot talk about Ricoeur, but I am finished with the Gadamer. Okay. I'm stressed out right now. The prejudices is about the accepted meanings of the language. Like I said, the prejudices is, how can I say, the prejudices about accepted meanings is a condition of understanding, because it's like that. If I don't have never thought about something or never think about something, I cannot engage with the idea of the thought. I cannot with that. That's why it's the condition. For Gadamer, prejudices are neither good or bad. But he makes he makes a distinction between prejudices. In the case of they can be legitimate or non-legitimate. It means that not all of our prejudices about the text in terms of language doesn't necessarily a false. But we have to understand the text. That's why we need to be aware of our prejudices about language. And we have to separate them as legitimate and illegitimate prejudices. Actually, understanding some text is about them. We have prejudices and we come across with the verbs and prejudices, what is text saying and what I understand with my language. How much minutes? 2. Okay. It's Gadamer's Hermeneutics. Like I said, I cannot talk about the Ricoeur because I didn't use my time effectively. But I can say that the pre-understanding is a condition of understanding. And the hermeneutics' main problem is that how we understand the text. Before Gadamer and Schleiermacher, it was about scriptures, and after with Schleiermacher and Gadamer, we learned that, we start to think about that this is not an objective thing like the science gives us. It's not like that. But we also need the valid interpretation, but not science. It's a little bit complicated. And because of my time management, that's my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Gelsin. Kaydolsun. Korktum yine de sen şey yap.
Tamam şuradan. Şimdi son dur lan bir dakika sonra evet.